Hi friends, different setup today, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like poo. I feel like poo. So I have felt out of whack for a while. What do you mean you're always out of whack? But like especially bad recently. My fatigue has been the worst, not the worst, but pretty bad. And my widespread pain has been shit to deal with, basically. And it's making my sleep bad too, so that makes all of it worse. I had my regular blood test this week, and that includes some like vitamins, you know, like some B-vits, B12, D-vits, iron and folates and all that fucking shit, you know, to see if any of those might be why I am particularly tired at the moment. But I feel like it could also just be related to coming down on steroids, either like because you become dependent on them the longer you're on them, and I've been on them for over a year now, so coming off them can be hell. The actual like tapering process has gotten a lot easier since I have basically elongated it to 2 weeks worth of like up and downing the dose and shit, so that my body can like take it without going into shock mode. What was the other thing I was gonna say? Oh, and because of tapering and coming off and lowering my dose, the more I feel my fibro symptoms again, and that is like the widespread pain and possibly this fatigue. So who really knows, we'll see soon-ish. But also I just kind of had like a bad time after my Adalimumab injection on Friday, so I wanted to just talk about, because I have talked about my Adalimumab, the 6 months and like 14 months updates like of how I'm doing generally, but I can't remember what specifically I've specified about how I take them and why I take them on this day or this time, blah blah blah. So I wanted to go into that with you this week whilst I'm feeling kind of poo. So I'm filming this the day after I had my Adalimumab this week. For the most part, I was told to just drink loads and loads of water day before, day of injection by other people in the IBD community. So that's what I do. I drink a lot of water generally anyway, but I try to make sure I drink loads, like more than 2 litres. I'm kind of like probably around 2 litres a day person anyway, so I try to really make sure I'm definitely drinking that much. Like Thursday and Friday of the week is always like constantly going to the fucking toilet because I drink so much water, or like liquids generally, and a bit less of like coffee and stuff. So I feel like that might have been why I feel kind of extra poo this week, is that maybe I didn't get enough water in before. I've been struggling recently with remembering to drink water if I'm sat downstairs in the living room, because the side is like behind me, basically like where my side is right now is like literally behind me. So because I don't have any like visual prompts of like, hey, you have a drink and you need to have a drink, or like you haven't had a drink in a while, I kind of forget if I'm doing things. So I feel like that might have been why this time around was a bit extra shitty. I also just kind of always have done mine on a Friday. I think that's just when the nurse came round to show me how it all works and did the loading dose. So I've just personally always stuck to a Friday, because I also have no life and I don't have a job or like, you know, I don't have a 9-to-5 job in an office anywhere, so it doesn't necessarily ruin anything for me. So I just kind of stick with that. I kind of do like early afternoon to evening time depending on the day. Normally if I'm just around the house by myself doing a lot, then it'll be between 2 and 4. And if it's like we've been out for the day or something, it'll be sometime like 5 or onwards. So like it is recommended that if you do have like kind of negative side effects after injecting yourself, it's best to do it kind of when you aren't expected or going to be doing something for like a few hours afterwards. So obviously if you're like a 9-to-5 worker, do it one day after work. Like I said, normally I don't feel bad the next day. Like I'm not sure whether this is related to the injection or just something else, because I've just had like a fucking migraine today, or like just a really intense awful fucking headache. So I don't know if that's like mental illness. I don't know if that's related, to be honest, but it's very possible. So if you experience negative side effects leading into the next day, it is probably better to do it on the day before your day off or whatever. But besides the drinking lots of water thing, I don't actually personally know or have heard of any tips to make this negative side effects better or not as bad. I want to quickly Google this actually, in case anybody else has said something. After my first few ever adalimumab injections, I felt kind of like particularly grotty. Grotty is a favourite. Grotty is a favourite word of mine at the moment. I keep saying it because it is just such a mood. I feel grotty. What was I saying? I got distracted by grotty. Yeah, I felt bad after the first two because they're both kind of loading doses when you have Crohn's. So your first one is 4 injections and your second one is 2. And I've not really felt as bad as I did this week, like since, basically. Yeah, loads of people say it feels like a hangover. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it feels like a hangover. Yeah, I felt achy. Like my full body aches had kind of just like amped up quite a bit, and like I feel the same today, that my full body aches are just like a bit worse. Wow, this article's written by an IBDer who doesn't suffer with fatigue and brain fog. Wow, what the fuck is that like? Fuck off. Fuck off. This article just didn't even have any helpful advice. We love that for us. That was a really pointless article, thank you. I've also not picked up a single fucking cold. I had a slight infection in my fistula, briefly. That's so helpful. I also vape medical marijuana when my pain gets to a level where I'm not present anymore. Wow, wish that could be me. I love being in the UK. Cool, so yeah, there's literally nothing. I personally have never found, seen or read anything except from this just kind of like managing your symptoms as they come. But basically, yeah, I think for me it was just related to the fact of I don't think I drank enough water. And yeah, I normally take it in that time frame of like early afternoon to late, like to the evening sort of time, because early afternoon is when my energy levels start plateauing / crashing anyway. So like I normally feel kind of rough after my injection, but mostly just because that's when my fatigue kind of sets in daily anyway. So I sort of just take it around that time because I know I'm gonna feel kind of dodge either way. So like, you know, rather than ruining feel it when I'm feeling a bit better, it's just added on top of that, so it's fine. So like normally it's not an issue at all. It doesn't affect my sleep. I don't really get the hangover feeling. I just kind of feel fatigued, achy, and like light sensitive. But I'm quite a light sensitive person anyway. So I think it probably just exacerbates my natural light sensitivity. So I tend to go and like hide in my room like I am right now, but with the blind down instead. and like watch or listen to some videos, I felt like I had more to say, but I've kind of forgotten what it is. There's also just something about being vertical. Like sitting upright is just uses so much energy. So like I just would like laying on my side, supported by a million pillows and like my mattress is soft. You know, just a soft environment to be laying in. But yeah, I just wanted to share that, you know, normally I don't have many issues at all when it comes to taking adalimumab, and especially since I changed over to Javita instead of the Emeraldi brand I was on, and also like since going up to weekly injections instead of bi-weekly, because a lot of my symptoms chilled out. My inflammation is like under control at the moment in my blood results. My fecal calprotectin has been like the same. It goes up a little bit, but or like up and down a little bit, but it's pretty much, that's kind of just what my standard is at the moment, is like around 150, which is I'm gonna say low because I have been off of our local charts. My local like hospitals only go up to like 600, which makes no sense because you can go up into like several thousand apparently. But I've been off of our local charts, so who knows how high I have been in the past, but I am kind of roughly around like 150 at the moment all the time. A lot of my like IBD Crohn's related symptoms are like gone/minimal, so like I still occasionally get like stomach or like lower back cramping pain, but like not for long, and like way less painful and way more manageable than when I was like actively flaring before I was getting treatment. My pooping is under control. I don't feel any nausea really or anything like that, and a lot of like other scarier pains have kind of gone too. I've not had any reoccurring issues with my abscess/fistula, so that's fantastic. That's basically why I went on this drug. And like until literally this week, I would normally just need some chill time in the dark for a few hours and be sort of fine by the evening again. Maybe it is also just to do with the fact that I am struggling with fatigue and widespread pain more than usual at the moment, that maybe it's just sort of aggravated it a little bit more than it would normally. Yeah, I mean, even though we've been in the pandemonium, I have literally not had a single cold, flu, virus infection like that since I started my first immunosuppressive medication in 2019. The only infection I've had was my abscess and the sort of like following infection a year later that was like short-lived and went away with some antibiotics, thank God. So like I really think it is a lot more manageable than people realise, like and also, you know, with the addition of masks, hand sanitizer, you know, like a lot of like hygiene related things being talked about a lot more and encouraged a lot more have probably helped in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously because it just directly helps prevent you from picking up gross like bacteria from fucking strangers who don't wash their hands, but also like just people are a bit less likely to look at you weirdly, kind of. I mean, it definitely depends, because I feel like there are some people who now look at you like a fucking mug because they don't think it's real, or they think it's over when it's not. So but I'm still wearing my mask. I will fight you if you come near me. End of story. I also wanted to quickly throw in like some of my top tips on how I'm drinking more water in those 2 days to prepare for my injection. So on these days I make an effort to take my vitamins and minerals and supplements. So for an example, these are my vitamins. There's quite a big mixture in here. There's magnesium, calcium, iron, like omega fats, B vitamins, D vitamins, C vitamins, and turmeric tablets. Yeah, so because there's quite a lot in there, that helps me drink like maybe 500 milliliters or something like that. My other tip is kind of what I've already mentioned, but bringing a water bottle around with me so it can kind of literally be anywhere. Like I said before, that if I don't see it, then I don't have any visual prompts to remind me to drink water. If it's in a bottle with a cap, I can literally lay it in front of me or sit it next to me, and I will at least have that kind of prompting that it's there to drink. Yeah, and also, like, generally, if you can, keep it in view for this reason. When I get really tired of drinking a lot of plain water, I then sort of rotate onto squash flavorings. I mean, some people put fruit in their water for flavoring. You can do that too. I just kind of stick to squash because I tend to drink a lot of water. It's a little bit easier to just throw in some squash. And then my sort of like last tip is know the measurement of the glass, bottle, whatever cup you're using, because then you can kind of keep track of like what sort of threshold is it that makes you go to the toilet more often, but also helps with the after effects of adalimumab injections. So I've got a bottle that's a litre that I often use. I have a 500 milliliter glass I use quite often as well, you know, things like that. And also, like, pretty basic tip, check your pee. First thing in the morning, I'm always very dehydrated, but like with these 2 days of the week where I drink a lot of water, it does become a lot, like, so clear. So that's when I know that I've definitely had enough to drink that day. So those are just my quick tips on how to drink more water on these days of the week. Try to avoid caffeine. It's dehydrating, or like maybe limit how much you drink. I tend to only have maybe 1 cup of coffee on the day of my injection as well. That's it. Thanks for coming to my top tips. You know, I just wanted to share with you how I feel this week, how I normally feel and get on with my injections. I normally make videos when I'm ready for them, so I kind of just wanted to make something that was a little bit more like, hey, this is how I feel right now. I am tired, my brain do not work, and I do not have the same manic energy that I normally have in videos. So yeah, thanks. Leave a like, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos. I have loads on chronic illness stuff. Leave a comment down below, let me know if there's anything that you specifically want to know about adalimumab, I guess, you know. Are you on adalimumab? Are you going to be on it? Or are you debating going on it? Do you know somebody on it? You know, just, if you've got any questions, leave them down below. My hand is going dead. Passed away. I have passed away. Oh my god, it's my arm switching. Ahoy there. Ahoy. Yeah, that's it from me. See you next week. Bye.